Shine up your studs, the part's pure slick. Grab a bovril, a pie, and take your pick. Welcome to the Burnie Podcast.
So in today's episode, we've got a lot to talk about. We've got a really stunning win from the seniors. We've got our first girls' goal of the week, and we're going to talk about the state of British football just now. We've got goalkeeping coach, an international man of mystery, Andy Sheridan, joining us on the show today.
But first, let's head back to the Burnie for Saturday's match against Heriot-Watt, where we won a very exciting home match, 3-1, with goals from McDowell, Schooler and Connolly to wrap up the 3 points in style and move us up to joint second in the league with a game in hand. Man of the match was Ben Riley, and he looks to definitely get in for an interview, I think.
Aye, definitely.
And did you catch any of the performance at all? Or?
No, I wasn't there. I didn't manage to make it. We were away in Dalkeith, so it wasn't a chance I was going to be able to make it through to the game. But I did see the result on Facebook, and it's good to see us, with a wee bit of consistency now, getting up the table and getting wins at home now. So hopefully we keep that up.
I'm curious though. It was 0-0 at half time. I'm sure what was said in that dressing room to rile them up.
Don't know. We'll need to get Andy back on and ask him.
That's exactly my point. I think we need to get a solo interview with Andy now that we're firmly established. We can kind of ask him a bit more in-depth questions.
Aye, but also we had the mascot Ollie Bullen come down from Inverness.
That was really good.
That's really good to see. So that's brilliant for the wee man.
What about yourself with the 2009s? You said you were away to...
Aye, we were away into Dalkeith. Played another new team that went on the division. It was another Dalkeith team. We beat them 7-0 in the end. Good. Very, very poor first half for us, I must say. We didn't get it wrong, we were 2-0 up, but the passing was just so slow. Nothing would stick, so just had to kind of go off on one at half time really, and came out 7-0 victors.
Brilliant. So
what about yourself?
No, we weren't playing. We had a bit of break. We're back next Sunday away to Kirkfield, so we'll see how that goes. I did notice we're also thrilled to have chosen, the community club have chosen to partner with the SFA and the Scottish Government on the Extra Time Initiative, a programme designed to offer before school, after school and holiday activity clubs for primary aged children to help provide them with life enhancing experiences. Stay tuned for updates on this as our activities get underway.
Also, our under-18s are looking to strengthen their squad. There's a clear pathway through to 20s and in the first team if you want to try and make your mark. If you're interested in doing so, get in touch with Lisa or call them. And training is on a Tuesday and a Thursday with matches on Saturday.
Yep. Little update with our public service announcements from last week. We're still seeing coaches from our own side walking across the 3G with flat shoes on, moulded boots or proper AstroTurf shoes only. And please don't get me started on the parking. I didn't have Nathan or any other boys the other week there because I was a bit out of sync, and I had to lug 2 massive bags of balls and the roller bag across that grass and the mud. It was just ridiculous. I was knackered before I'd even started training.
That's a nightmare. No, that's shocking, But no, just remember that it's only Blackburn officials that can park in the car park, so parents should be away from the car park, just obviously to make a bit of room for us. But the situation on the Saturday with the parking was ridiculous, and it's not going to be long for there's an accident. So
it's just an accident waiting to happen.
Park responsibly, please.
Talking of ridiculous things, when was the last time Rangers or Celtic weren't at the top of the Premier League at the end of October?
I think you're going to have to go back many moons, probably even before I was born, to find that. But I think as well, like with Rangers, obviously, just of today, as the day we're recording, Rangers have appointed Danny Rowe as the new manager, so can Hearts be taken off the top of the table? Probably not. But I hate to admit it, but Celtic will probably go up the top of the league at one point, and Hearts will probably drop off. But it's definitely been an interesting start. You don't really see that often.
I think it's great for Scottish football as a whole. As a neutral, it's great for me. Seeing Hearts up there certainly makes my boss a lot happier to be about. He's certainly a lot happier in the office, so I might sneak in for a wee pay rise, ask for a wee pay rise at the end of the week. I do feel sorry for Livingston, our local Premier League team, but when you look at the table, you actually realise, even though they're 12th, they're only 5 points between 12th and 3rd. So I mean, like that's just 2 wins away for being in Europe. I mean, it's so close.
I think it's definitely good that it is that way. Like that's one thing that's really good about the Scottish League. You know, you can be 12th, 1 week, then the next week, you're jumping into, European spots. I think you get that in the English Championship as well, but you don't really see it in the Premier League so often. Usually those teams are glued to the top of the table, but that's something that's definitely quite unique about our league. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully it stops and Rangers go top, but. But apart from that, no, it's obviously good to see something different.
I guess your viewpoint's slightly biased, but I think...
Oh, no, it's very biased. Correct yourself, sorry, it's very biased.
It's very biased. But I think when I think back to when I was growing up, the English Football League was solely dominated by Manchester United, Alex Ferguson. I still remember when they won 2-1 against Bayern and that. Like I remember watching that with my granddad. That was a fantastic match. So and you think about the past decade or so. Well, where's Man U now? I think they're definitely strong, and it's good to at least see similar things happening. It means everything's competitive at least.
It's been good because obviously about 10 years ago now you had Leicester winning it, and over the past couple of years you've had like Villa, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Fulham like rising up the table pushing for European spots. Like you've seen Nottingham Forest play in Europe, seen Brighton play in Europe, and it's like you don't usually see that. Do you know what I mean? So it's obviously. But
again, is it down to the money aspect though? With these teams pushing up, I know certainly in Scottish football it's not so much about, but with down south with all these foreign takeovers and huge money being pumped into the clubs, is it artificial in a way?
I think you can maybe see it from that perspective, maybe for a Newcastle or a Villa. But I think like with Brighton, Brighton had like a really good player trading model, which I think definitely was a huge part in it. Not just the money, but that was a huge part in getting them up towards European places. So I think there's a bit of both involved with that.
Yeah, good for kind of both sides.
Yeah.
So before we chat to our guest, we've had a sudden influx of goals for Goal of the Week submissions, which is great to see. So this week's winner is Lauren from the 2015 Girls, and this goes from the Inverkeithing Swifts game. We'll watch that. So, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, thanks for having me.
From between the sticks to building a career, the life and mindset of a goalkeeping coach. It's great to have you on the Burnie Podcast. We've been looking forward to this one. I've been wanting to have you on since the start. So, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
No, it's definitely good to have you come in. Before we get into the serious stuff, how's your hands holding up? Are you still catching anything, or are you dropping the occasional one?
Well, quite a chest infection last week, so I'm doing alright. Listen, I've still got this fantasy in my head to just play one more game. I could go and play 90 minutes, but I couldn't train for it. I've got that much old injuries, I've got 4 herniated discs. I've got arthritis in all my lower back. I've got arthritis in my shoulder. Potentially getting a surgery soon. I'll find out on Friday. I've got that much aches and pains, and just to play one game would be great, but I maybe need to take a month off
afterwards.
After it, But I think most people do when they stop. They just want to play one more. But I'd kill myself. It'd be crazy.
Aye, but it'd be worth it for your mind,
it would,
wouldn't it?
And it'd be a laugh for everybody watching, I'd be quite up for that, Like I say, I'll still use my hands every day. My academy's open 7 days a week, and I'm still using my hands, and like I'm having a bit of ball in my back just now, so the 2 1-to-1s tonight, I'm like, oh, but I've got a few coaches at work with that can take the kind of...
Take the strain.
Yeah, they can take the kind of workload off us a wee bit.
What's the stunt dummy?
The what?
Stunt double.
Stunt double?
Aye.
What's that?
No, like in a movie when they get the...
Oh, right, aye. Who's he getting
Fall for me.
Like they get the lookalike to go and...
Oh, Buffon.
Aye.
Yeah, big Buffon.
Well, let's wind it right back. When did football first come into your life? Were you always between the sticks, or did you end up there by accident like most people?
I can tell you exactly how and when I became a goalkeeper. Always played football. Always, Pat Bonner was my hero. But I remember the day I got my opportunity. I was in primary 7, and I was at St John Ogilvy's, and it's so vivid. And so all the players kind of picked themselves, and there was 2 of us, me and a guy called Lee Melech. And I remember it vividly, how to remember his name when I was that age, primary 7. And Mr. Marzella was the school teacher, head teacher, but he was also the football coach. So he picked the team through the shirts, and he had the one goalkeeper's jersey, and it was like the old horrible nylon, you know, things that you would never have seen. And he says, I don't know who to pick. And I remember Lee. Lee was like a bit small, but he's one of these really athletic guys. And he said, I don't know who to pick. And he said, I know what we'll do. And he just threw it up there. And this is in the cloakroom at St John Ogilvy's. And I've just kind of boom and took the goalkeeper's jersey. And I went out and we played whoever's we were playing that day. And I've played in goals ever since. Right. And I remember it, you know, and it was if I didn't do the elbow, you know, that was the start of my kind of dirt. I was never a dirty player. I was hard and fair, you know. I was never dirty. I didn't go to hurt anybody. But that was so, yeah. And I was always dressed in a Celtic goalie strip, you know. That was it. Primary 7 is when I decided that. Well, I decided. Well, I wanted to play in goals, and then I got the opportunity, and I've never looked back. You know, there's been times later on when I've maybe helped out like Sunday morning teams when I shouldn't have and played right back. Because I think it's an easy position because everything's in front of you. You know, you don't really need to have the eyes in the back of your head or anything like that, you know. But nah, I've always been in goals, you know. I've never bought into the myth that you need to be crazy to be a goalkeeper. But then when people hear me say that, they're like, are you for real? I don't think I'm crazy.
No, that's brilliant, mate. And like, see, sort of growing up, obviously, just spoke there about your heroes. But did you have any more like influences, like from coaches or family or teachers?
My mum was massive. Came to every game. She made sure I got to every game. And she was there, hail, rain, snow, storms. She stood there. She was my biggest fan. So yeah, she got me everywhere, and she obviously back then we didn't need to pay like club fees and that, you know, and strips get taken away and washed, but she got me there, and she got me the best of boots because you know it's like with kids, they just want to wear what everybody else is wearing, or Ronaldo boots or whatever. So no, without my mum, you know, I wouldn't have been able to go where I went with football. But Pat Bonner, you know, would Pat Bonner be a good goalkeeper nowadays? No. Because he was just, goalkeeping's evolved as football has, and you know, everything that goes with that, you know, the diet, the analysis, you know, you can imagine what it's like at these Man Cities and everything that goes on, and even up the road at Blackburn, the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Pat Bonner, I had his strips, I just loved them. And actually, because I'm from Glasgow, I stayed in Newton Mearns, and him and Tommy Burns stayed round the corner. Pat Bonner never came to his door once, but Tommy Burns did, and I went down to get sponsored and had my Celtic goalie, so I had everything on, do you know. And Tommy Burns' wife came to the door, and I says, oh, I'm at St Cadoc's and I'm doing a sponsor, whatever it was. And she was, oh, there, a couple of quid. And Tommy Burns has walked out the living room. 2 quid, look at the top he's got on, give him a £5. And I was like, Tommy, you know, I get starstruck with like guys like that, you know. So yeah, Pat Bonner just kept me wanting to play playing goals, and I have this discussion a lot. Would he be, if he was coming through now, would he play? Probably not, because he was just a big lump. And you know, goalkeeping was all about just even when I was playing, we never get asked to go and do the block or the spread or find people's feet. You know, we were just kick it into that corner, dive at his feet, keep your studs up. If you kick him good, you know, it's so technical now, and I've had to go back and I still need to study, you know, and there's certain people that follow because I was never asked to do the block and hands here, body there, so I need to do a lot of work away from the pitch to kind of be in line with what's happening nowadays, you know. But yeah, my mum, massive, still is, she comes and watches me now, even though I'm coaching now. She doesn't come to my sessions, but the club I'm involved with, she's there. And Pat Bonner, massive. I still love to meet him. Still love to meet him.
Well, if we get him ever on the podcast, we'll be
Yes, definitely.
So you talked about Newton Mains there. Was that the main club you were involved in at that early stage? Is this or
Newton Mains?
Aye.
No, I don't. I think I played school football then. I was right young. It wasn't until we moved back here. I started playing for the school, and there was a team called Harrismuir Thistle or something, which was a school. You didn't. So I was a primary school. You didn't necessarily need to be at that, but they were all mates, and most of them are Rangers fans. And I've came through for Glasgow. And I remember my first training session actually, this just came to me. So I went along, my mum's took me along, and we trained at the back of a church called St Paul's, and there was Doug's poo everywhere. So what I'd done is you go and clear it, and then we trained. So I went along, and and goalkeepers, you know yourselves running teams, they're like hen's teeth, you can't to get a decent goalie. And I don't know if I was decent then. And I just turned up and asked if I could train. They let me train. It was no mobile phones or that. I was picking up the house phone or something like that. Or answering an advert that's stuck in the shop window. And I went and trained and I just played. And there was a wee bit of, but he's not for Harrismuir. But then I got to know the boys and they took to me because I played quite good, obviously. And we changed our name to Ladywell United. And we were the worst team in West Lothian for many a year, as long as we were together. But we were the best dressed, with the best strips.
I'm glad it's no longer a thing, because that's where I'm from.
Ladywell?
They ended up there.
Did you? Aye. I was actually in Burnie.
I ended up at... So that's where I am.
No way.
Aye, 40. Well, I can't say it on the podcast, to be fair.
Well, I was 20, I can say that. I stayed there for years.
Wow.
So my mum got involved. There's J.D. Forrest, so he was my first proper coach. He sadly passed away. Henry Whitelaw and Big Tam Gallagher, who's passed away as well. They're my coaches. And we're just a gang. We're just a bunch of boys who all got on. And I still see some of them about. And this is a bit of a story. So I was with them for years. And we played Whitburn Bluebell, who were a big name, so I'm talking about under 13s, we came right through and they beat us 22-0 and stuff like that, so I was getting plenty of practice. Referees gave man of the matches and I got them quite a lot, I think it was a sympathy thing. But what I didn't realise, this is a true story, we played Whitburn again at Inverham High School and I got a brand new pair of Reebok Royals, which were quite a cool thing back then. And somebody broke into Whitburn's changing room and stole all their gear. And what I didn't know at the time was that my brother-in-law was in that team, but he was obviously just a wee 12-year-old at the time. He had a pair of Reebok Royals and they were stolen, and I'm standing my brand new pair on. So me and him are arguing. And as young kids, not knowing that like 30 years later, he's my brother-in-law. So one of the other guys squared up to me and said, that's my mate's trainers. And me and him, my mum's like that. My mum was, if I ever got into a fight, my mum would come out. She wouldn't stop me fighting, she would just take my good school shirt off. And she says, you're not fighting in here, get outside. So me and this guy were rolling about because of my brother-in-law. And I always remember that and we laugh about it, but he always gets a last laugh because he still says, you stole my trainers. I says, I didn't steal them. But he always gets a last laugh by saying, but remember 22-0. And my mum's like, I remember that too because it was like freezing. Ice cold. My mum would never moan. She's always watching me. I love my mum watching me, I was going to say when we won, we kind of celebrate, but I don't think we did ever win. I'm not sure we won a game in all the years. But it stood me in good stead. Aye. It wasn't like nowadays where you can look into the snowflake mentality.
It's like character building.
Oh, 100%. That's why I'm old. You've heard me coaching and see me. I'm old school. But I still know now and I'm still learning to... I know to put arms around people, and it kills me when I'm involved with a team and you can't say what you want, you can't even coach
the way you want to,
because a lot of them just take it as criticism and it is actually coaching, and that's frustrating, and I do need to adapt because it's just evolved, everything's evolved, isn't it?
Aye, well you can't tell the players to go rolling about in the car park after a match then.
No, I can't tell them that.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. Well, in terms of obviously your goalkeeping, it's going to be a wee bit of a weird question considering you've told me you've been beat basically every game, but was there like one particular maybe saving side of a match that you went, I want to be a goalkeeper for life? Was there like one moment that stood out to you?
For me, as a young boy,
Aye.
I think I just love playing in goals, and I just think when I walk over, I never get nervous, no matter what level I was at. I never get nervous playing football. Whether it didn't matter what's going on, like in my life or at school, whatever. Football just made me happy. I loved that 90 minutes, and looking back, and even like later on in my career, I was never the best goalie. I believe I'm a better coach than I was goalie. I was never the best, but I prided myself on communication, organisation, and not make mistakes. You know, they were big things. But moments where I just wanted to keep going, maybe getting all the man of the matches and getting a lot of recognition, where it'd be quite easy, probably nowadays, to go, I'm getting beat all these 10-0s, 8-0s, and to put the head down, and then because a lot of parent involvement now, isn't there, and it's not always positive for the sides, and I think I just wanted to keep going, and then I was getting a bit of interest for some like senior clubs, and just, you know, and looking back, I don't think it affected me, even the 22-0s, and like when guys come to my academy now, and they might have just started to pay for a block, and they say you'll not be back. They get beat 10-0. He thinks every goal was his fault. He's going to stop playing. You know, and I believe that's just how society is nowadays, isn't it? The one that's tough.
I guess as well, you've got a platform to say, like, what was your score? Oh, 10-0. You can't get any worse than what's happened to you.
Do you know what
I mean? Look at where you are.
Jared, I use that a lot about my team. And when there is a young goalkeeper going through that, I'll say I played for the worst teams. And then they might think, because I'm the coach, I played with like Real Madrid and Barcelona, and I'll tell them about that experience. I got plenty of practice, and I know mindsets are different nowadays. You know, I don't think they're as strong, and is it just the era, the generation we were brought up in, but I genuinely don't think it affected me. Didn't mean I didn't like losing, because as Graham Souness says, if you show me somebody that likes losing, I'll show you a loser. You know, and even now involved as a coach at a club or whatever, I take it bad. I'm really, because I've got expectations to win every game. And I remember, I'm probably jumping a wee bit forward here, but when I signed West Calder, my first junior club, and we were terrible. Really, we were so, we're in another bad team here. But I loved it. You know, it was my first wage playing football, albeit maybe £15 a week or something. And
just paid in cash?
Ginger bottles or something like that. But my expectation, I know it's unreal, and I know it's pretty, very unreal, was that I could turn up on the Saturday with West Calder and play the first team Real Madrid, and I would expect to win. And that's why I think I took it so bad. And I'm still at the day, I don't expect to get beaten, but it happens, you know. And then you go into that self-analysis, and you're very critical of yourself and stuff like that.
Aye, no, definitely.
So, how many teams did you kind of go through till you kind of made the jump from playing football to coaching?
Well, I played all the juvenile football. I remember I played through in Glasgow, because I'm from Glasgow, and my dad stayed through there and invited me through, and they were a very good team called Oakle Patrick, and they played in the same league as like Celtic Boys, Motherwell, Albion Rovers, Partick Thistle. And that's when I really started to and we were a strong team, and they're like, your son, he's really good, you know, and that's when I started to believe. But I was getting up early in the morning, a Saturday, getting a bus into Glasgow, getting a train, and then walking back a certain amount of miles just to be there. And it took its toll after a while. Came back, played Pumferson Juveniles, and I that's where I met Brian Smiley. He was there, and I still say to this day, that was one of those sweepers. He's probably the best player I've ever played with. Do you know, he could bring that ball down on anywhere, and he was just brilliant, and he was hard as nails, and he was just as he is just now. Then I went to Motherwell. That's when I got my chance to go to Motherwell, and I was talking about this the other day, one of my other coaches, and he loved David Cooper. I was sitting in his dressing room. Motherwell just won the Scottish Cup, and I'm sitting with Davy Cooper, sat beside me. I couldn't speak to him because I was like, you know, and all that Scottish, Paul McGrill and Dougie Arnott, Neil Simpson, it was at Aberdeen that done the tackling, Durant, Big Steve Dyke, Sally Maxwell, you don't know these guys, Jared.
I'm
But they were legends, they were proper legends, and I'm sat there like that. And I've turned up pretty flash with the shiny shoes and the trousers and the t-shirt tucked in. I had earrings in, big earrings, big hoops, looked like a pirate. And Tommy McLean, you remember Tommy McLean? Tommy and Jim McLean, their brothers, they were ferocious. They were old Fergie kind of style. And I'm sitting there my very first day, and I'm looking at David Cooper, and I'm like, wow. And I knew a wee boy there. So it was YTS days then, £28.50 a week. And Tom McCrane just came for me and went, get those effing earrings out. Who do you think you effing are? And I nearly pulled my ears off. And the blood was everywhere. And he started calling me names and all that. My first day. But, you know, I didn't think it was anything wrong with it. You know, I'm like, yeah, listen, I'll go home with it. You know, so from there I went to Motherwell. Nothing came of it. Never signed any contracts. Went to Hamilton Accies. Nothing came of that. So then I was just kind of playing youth football. Blackburn under 21s, actually. But I met Brian Smiley. I was just driving through Blackburn. I met Brian. He says, we need an under 21 keeper. And I went there. And I played a couple of seasons, and what a bunch of guys. I wouldn't have wanted to play at Blackburn at that. Do you know what? There's certain time, guys, well, no one name them, they're all hanging about and supporting you and encouraging you to kind of be mental. But we, Tam Shaw, Big Herman was the manager. Tam was, no matter what your injury was, you had a wee popcorn bucket with a wee water, a sponge and a cigar that he blew into your face when you was trying to talk to you. Right, son? You're like, gee whiz, man. But they were great days. From then, I think I went with work overseas and then came back, and that's when I started playing juniors. So I went with West Calder, down to Armadale, went to Broxburn. I was nursing a couple of bad injuries and I never really kind of sorted them out. Then I had a wee spell at Livingston, and then I finished at Blackburn. But I was really had a lot of injuries that I never looked after, and I was kind of, you know, maybe training once a week, and I played up till 39. And I remember playing
only a year ago.
Aye, only a year ago. And I remember playing against Blackburn. I never liked playing in that pitch, the old grass pitch, because it was massive and it was as if the wind machine get turned on before it. But I played against Mark Campbell, and me and him were like that every game. And I think it was a respect thing, because I was thinking about this today. If it was 65-35 my favour, I know he was coming in, he wasn't holding back. Vice versa, he was as hard as nails, but he was good. You know, he was always scoring goals, and we would argue and we'd be up, I'll see you in the tunnel and all that stuff. It never ever came to it. You know, he was just a guy that I'm in for a right hard game today, and I knew I was going off marks on me, you know. Aye. And then he became a manager, and it was pretty surreal, because he was at me and at me. I said, Mark, I'm carrying all these injuries and I'm still working offshore. He goes, I'll be there and I'll be fit. But and goalkeepers match fit is all about decision making. Do you know, I was always as fit as a fiddle, but it was decision making. So I played, I think it was 2 seasons, and on my last season, and they kept picking me. I'd go away for 6 weeks, come back, and they just put me straight back in the team, and it was my decision making that let me down. I had 2 OGs against me in my last season, I remember walking out with a big ego, you know. You used to be a lot better and I wasn't as good, you know, and I was struggling through games, and all my old managers were turning up and they're like, Doc, are you still playing? You know, what? But then, you know, and then I was like, I can't do this anymore. You know, I knew, I wouldn't take the blame at the time, but I knew I've slowed down, I'm making mistakes, and that was it. So it was nice to finish here, you know, against a guy that I did respect, but I knew I was in for a tough game against him.
Aye. No, that's a good way to end things like.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, moving on like a wee bit away from your playing, like into coaching. So obviously, like, when you made that transition, what was the biggest challenge for playing to coaching?
So from then, and people knew I was still working offshore and stuff, and people knew I'd finished and would say, can you come in and help? you know, and I'd done a wee bit of Stonyburn. I was quite heavily involved at Blackburn with the seniors, the 20s, and the 05s where my nephew came right through, Aaron Fowler, he's with the senior still. But the transition, looking back, I was just a trainer. I believe there's a big difference between training people and coaching them. You know, anybody can put drills on. If you're not a goalie coach, you can put a drill on, but you need to step in. You know yourselves, your coaches, you need to step in. And it's not just about coaching things new. You need to coach things out of people. You know, like I had 2 1-to-1s tonight and I had to coach something out of a wee boy, and he was such a fast learner. I wouldn't say I found it hard. I found it challenging because, you know, I was just putting drills on. You know, I wasn't really coaching looking back, but it was still good to be involved, you know. And then, yeah, so I was just helping the team out here and there. I couldn't commit because of my work at the time, you know. So no, but I was always involved at some sort of capacity.
Dealing with coaching the older kids versus kind of the younger kids, is there kind of, how do you adapt your training depending on the age of the kids?
Do you mean my approach to the people or the drills kind of thing?
I think both, to be honest with you.
You need to adapt big time, you know, and the young ones, you need to make it fun. You can't pull them up. Listen, even though I'm a stickler for, you know, learning the basics and the fundamentals, doing them well and doing them consistently, you know, because you can't move on. And I'm big, and I say to my coaches, you can't, if they're not doing that, you can't just move them on to blocking and this and that.
If they've not got that.
No, you really, but you mix it, it's like repetition without repeat. You can't keep on putting the same drills on. You need to mix them up, but it's still all about hands. Do you know, maybe a wee drop and it might be this, but you need to really mix it up. So I'm big in that, and I'm big on the young ones, and depending on their mentalities, you need to choose certain words. I don't like saying the word no, wrong. You know, you can't do that, and oh, come on, you know, you really need body language, and the words you choose are very important, you know, because their heads go down like that. So you need to approach them, nurture, call it a bit of love, you know, you want to get them on side. You know, you maybe get them into diving and they're not diving right. That sounds daft. Everybody thinks you just dive and that's it. But there's ways to do it. But you can't pull them up every time they don't do it right, because they'll just think, I can't get this. You need to let them do it. And a lot of them getting used to the diving. Do you know, because some of them don't want to go to ground. You know, ground familiarisation, we call it. So you just let them dive a bit, and you're maybe being technical for 20 minutes with them. And at 8 and 9 year old, then they switch off and they don't want to come back, because it's like, he's just telling me what to do. Then he's telling me I'm not doing it right. So then you make it a bit of fun. We do a wee bit of nothing but nets, or we make it, you know, you always need to be kind of complimenting them. With the older boys, and if you've had them a while, you can be a wee bit tougher. Do you know, especially, I'm big on discipline, because it's a very disciplined position. I'm big on, let's say we were all in a line going to work and I'm the coach and there's one guy working. I'm very big on whoever 4 people are standing there, they must be watching the goalie. And they don't get it, they think they want to talk to their mates because I've not seen them since last week. But it's all about, and the way I explain it, and it's the truth, is you'll learn from me. I say, but you also learn from each other. Never think you can't learn from each other. If I turn round and say, Jared, well done, 4 rounds, your hands were perfect, your footwork was great, and if they're watching you, they're going, right, so Jared done that with his feet, you know, and hearing me all the time, and I'm quite loud when I coach, I'm very vocal, but yeah, I'm big in that, and a lot of them just carry on and play about, and I'll just say, listen, you can't do this, it's disrespectful to me, the goalie that's training, and your parents are paying a lot of money for you to kind of be here, so I want you to get value for money. Some can't handle it, some keep doing it. They're the challenging things, you know, the ones that just keep doing the same things over and over.
Aye.
You know, I think is Einstein's definition of insanity is they keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Yeah.
You know, but it is challenging. You know, when you get the boys, they're playing a very good level and you can really up the drills, you know, you can put a bit on it, You don't need to work on the hand shapes and the footwork. You can really put on what I call GRP, game-related practice, you know, and they're good. You know, you'll maybe say that we need to work on wee bits and bobs, maybe positioning, or maybe your game management, as in how you talk to the players. And do you know, when that ball's there, you should maybe brought him in. But I watched 2 goalies yesterday morning, and their game management, you know, they're young boys, but I mentioned the words to them and they didn't know what I was talking about, so I didn't want to go too much into it and confuse them, you know. And but yeah, you need to approach each one different, you know. I find girls take on board information a lot easier, and I think there's less ego involved with the girls, you know. It's and they're a joy, you know. I've got 3 girls at Celtic just now and 1 boy, and they just come in and it's like they're no carrying on, they just want to learn, and you know, and they fall down, they just get back up. But I get some guys rolling about, oh, you're like, me being an old school, get up.
Aye, how do you sort of, like, you know, drill that into them about like the mindset stuff? Because like I've seen, like, obviously some of the stuff on your Facebook, like you're sharing your drills, but you're also sharing, like, you know, speeches about mindset and stuff like that. So how do you put that side of it into practice, like that sort of mental toughness sort of coaching?
Well, it's funny you should say that. It's come up a couple of times recently, and tonight I had a boy, and wee John, and he was talking about the goalie let in, and the weekend they won 3-1, but he talked, it was a mistake, so he went for the basket, but he said his elbows wide open, and he's dropped through him and through his legs and went in. And the first thing I say to him is, well done, because you know what you done wrong. If I'm asking you what you done wrong and you're saying you don't know, I'll get frustrated, you know, within myself, because we've been working on this for about a year. And he told me, I goes, that's brilliant, you already know what you done. I says, but what did you do after it? He was like, I was annoyed and this and that. I goes, of course you are. I said, but you keep that within yourself. I said, because then I go on to talk about your Buffons and all these keepers that have cost their teams World Cups and European Championships, and says what you do is you make a mistake, you're going to cost your team a cup final, you're going to cost them leagues, and because it's on the post, it's going to happen. Says, but once you let it go in, and it is a howler, you get the ball, you kick it up, blame somebody else, and then say, let's go guys, let's get the next goal. I says, because if you're thinking about that mistake and you're a young boy, you'll be thinking, oh, what's my mum and dad saying, what's the coaches, what's the centre half, they're all looking at me, they're all laughing. I'll say, you just need to put out your head. You just need to forget about it. After the game's the time that you'll go and you'll kind of analyse it, and they'll maybe not know at that age analysing, and they'll probably just give themselves a hard time. But and you need to, I think the stats are like 80% of goalkeeping is psychology, you know, and it's you really need to be mentally tough. And it doesn't mean it always was, you know, it's a long process till you get to that, I don't give a shit, you know. I remember I thought it was my last game for Blackburn actually, and it was my last game, I was going to retire, we're up at Aberdeen, the Scottish Cup. Cross came in and it was the softest header ever. I went to pick it up and it was like a grenade. I threw it up there. I went to catch it and I threw it in the ground. And then I went to catch it again, I threw it in. And I'm just like, this is my last game ever. I goes, it's the Scottish Cup. I just got the ball. I'm like, how did you get a header in? And I just put the ball up and I'm right at the edge of my box going, let's get the next goal, come on. But in within, I'm like, this kind of finish like this. So the best thing a coach can see is a keeper that gets at the chest stomp, he's and starts barking directions again. No kicking the post, no standing like that, you know. And I'm on about that quite a lot. And obviously the younger you need to act a wee bit different. But we won that game up at Aberdeen 3-1. As soon as we equalised, I'm like, oh, it's up to you now, boys. You know. And then after the game, we can laugh about it. Where if we didn't win, we wouldn't be laughing about it.
No.
You know, that would have been my last game. I ended up playing a wee bit longer.
So tell us about your goalkeeping business for that last game, and how did you come about that, and what do you focus on the lads who you train with?
So my academy. So it happened by accident. It got to where it is by accident. I was working offshore still, and I wasn't liking it, I wasn't enjoying it, and then, you know, I've travelled all around the world, and I was taking longer and longer breaks back home, and I got involved with my nephew's team. They were Real Fives at Blackburn, a very, very good team. And it was good, morely because my nephew was there, and we're pretty close. And I was seeing him in dressing rooms, I was seeing his wee personality, and I was watching him with the boys. And at that age, at the old fives, when they were very young, they weren't swear, but they wouldn't swear in front of us. But when I hear them all swearing, and you know, it was good to be around about them. So I get involved with them. We went to Malta on a trip, and it was funded through Blackburn. I don't know how it all happened. We went over there, and one of the Maltese, one of the teams asked me to apply for a job. And I was just looking to get out offshore because I was starting to enjoy being involved with football again. And I applied for a job and never got it. And I came back, and at the time in offshore there wasn't a lot of work, and especially with the kind of job that I'd done. And I just put an advert out. I said, I'm going to just put a wee advert out. I was never on social media, and I still don't like it to this day, but you know yourself, you need to use it. And I put an advert out, listen, goalkeeping coaching, whatever, and I can't even, the flyer would have been crap. And the mental thing was, the first person to contact me was my mate Callum Rarity, and his daughter Lola. And we used to play together at Armadale and Broxburn. And he says, listen, Doc, she's never kicked a ball in her life. She doesn't even, I don't even know what she's doing. I went and bought her all the gear. She's crap. And I remember I took her first session. And she was a great lass, great attitude, but she was absolutely shocking. Fast forward now, she's playing for Celtic in Scotland, you know. And the madness that I hadn't seen Callum for years, I hadn't seen, well, the last time we went out on a night out, he met his future wife. And I hadn't seen her for, so they worked out 17 years. And I went out somewhere that night and I bumped into his wife. And she goes, oh, Doc, not seen you. And you had Lola the day, and aye, how was she? I goes, oh, she was terrible, you know. So she was the first goalie, and for then I just got phone calls, and I got busier and busier, and I was like, you know, I never thought I'd make a living at it. I never thought I'd go to where it was. I knew if I was getting a bit of cash in, that will give me time to think about what I do next. And people, you know, I don't know about yourself, Jared, but you're full of self-doubt. It's a big leap to leave a job and open an academy. But mine was a kind of slow burner, and what gave me a bit of grace was there wasn't much work out there, so I could spend more time. And I just got more and more clients, and then it just kept growing. And everybody was saying to me, you're going to do great, everybody knows you in the football community, and but I'm thinking, but I wasn't a high profile goalkeeper, you know, I never played for your Motherwells. I trialled and trained, and you're full of that self-doubt.
I think, like, for me, like, it was a little bit less scary because I'm young, still living at home, but I can only imagine what that might have been like for you when you've got like a sheet of bills to pay, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that was a big thing as well, you know. You know, is this sustainable? Can I get by in this? And it just kept getting bigger and bigger, and then I got somebody to help me with it. Because I'll say to you, I don't know if technology, I can't even put a flyer together. Somebody was helping me. It's just, honestly, it's just grew arms and legs. And
just to give everybody an example, when we were doing the coaching at Stonyburn together, you're filming the videos like that. Camera away like that.
And I'm trying to kick and all that at the same time, and then I go, that'll be a good one, and I get it back and I just see my right foot, or I'm video my own face, you know. I'm not good at that, you know, but I sometimes get a photographer to come in and takes good pictures, and I just put them up and use them. And as I say, that story for Lola, and it's quite, I don't know if romance is the right word, but it's quite, for playing with her dad, to her be my first ever goalie, to now she represents, she's the number 2 at Scotland, because the girl at her age, she's 15 or 14, her name's Julia, plays with Motherwell.
Oh, yeah, I've heard she's about
6'7", and she's so Lola's going to kind of struggle to get the number 1 and let her, you know.
I had a girl in a work experience there, and unfortunately for her, she's at Motherwell too.
Right,
and I said, goalie, Maya, you'll know her.
Oh, aye.
And she was like, yeah, I'm number 2, and I went, oh, like, what's going on? You're only young and that. She was the lassie's 6'7". I went, alright, fair enough.
But because she trains with the women's first team, and then she's been called up to maybe be on match day, there's a chance that she will go up and maybe give Maya that opportunity. you know. Because Maya, when she first came, her first session, her hands were, well, she's got really good hands, she was quite strong. So I got in at Livingston, and it was that turmoil stage with things down there, and it never worked out, and a lot of them, their heads went down, and they kind of you know, their dream was to go to a professional club, and it was none of the players' faults. But so now as I say, I've got 3 girls at Celtic, and I've got a good relationship with Celtic, and one boy, and it's just, and people keep saying, oh, brilliant coaching, and I hate that. I hate anybody sticking, my mum's the worst. Do you know, so there's Leighton sign for Celtic, my mum's, oh, well done, coach. And I tell her, stay off my pages. I go, and the truth is, and this is what I say, I'm a believer in this, and maybe yourself, Jared, it's a collective.
Yeah.
I'm only there to pass on what I know.
Aye, the parent brings them to the session, they work hard, their coaches show up for the training, you're only just a wee part of that.
I'm just part of the wheel, and I'm not just saying that to kind of knock myself down. The parents need to be able to afford it. Logistically, they have to be able to get them there. And then you need a goalkeeper that's going to really work.
Aye, I think like for me, like what you're saying is correct, because like see when I post about like my players doing well, I'll always post about their progress. I'll never post and say, oh, they made it to this team because of us. But I do see a lot of people, you know, they've maybe taken them for one session and be like, oh, look at that, by the way. Do you know what I mean? It's like, no, I'll always post about
the same person.
Aye. Right, no, yeah.
Say that on the podcast.
Aye. Unbelievable.
No, listen, I'll post when they're there, but I don't post for me to take credit.
Aye.
I am so happy for them, because I never, do you know, maybe when you're younger as well, Jared, the academies and all that, they weren't about. Do you know, I hardly got goalkeeping training. Do you know, I was seeing myself as a bit of a rough diamond.
I got one. I used to be a goalie up until my first year of high school. Again, dropped it because all that negative psychological stuff.
Yeah.
It was a boy, he was doing it at Blackburn, and he was the Livy number 2. Was it DJ? Darren Jameson, I think.
Oh, right, I think I mean...
That was the only one that I ever knew of. Like when I was younger, there was no 1-to-1s. That was it. That was the only thing that existed. It was for goalies.
Yeah.
There's probably 1 or 2 out there, but
yeah.
like you're right, that wasn't a thing, eh?
No, it wasn't, and even for like what you're doing with outfielders, it wasn't really a thing, and it's so helpful. It brings them out their club, community club atmosphere and environment, and then they're with you've got a different voice, a different set of eyes, and they meet new friends. It's confidence building, and
the next question's actually quite interesting to talk about. You know, that sort of taking away for the community club. What would you say the biggest misconception about the private coaching is? Because like I hear a lot of people say, oh, like 1-to-1s and that didn't matter, but I feel as if, you know, what would be your take on that?
I 100% disagree. You know, it's tested and proven, and you know, if I'm talking about myself, now I've got over. It goes up and down between 80 and 110 goalies. It goes up and
holidays and that. Right.
People don't come back. People do whatever. And people join, and I don't sell them the dream as I'm going to get you a club. I just ask, what's your expectations of me? And I make the promise that if you come in here and give the coaches 100%, we'll give you 100% back. If you give me 50, I'll give you 50. If you come in and work hard, listen, ask questions, I promise you we'll make you the best goalkeeper you can be. And that's it. If they're spending time with you, Jared, in a one-to-one, or spend time with me, and you know what you're doing, and they're willing to listen and put into training what you're showing them, of course they're going to get better. Do you know, there's no the pressure of being with all their mates or all the other teammates and make mistakes. And sometimes when you're in a team and your actual coach will be a bit harsh on you, do you know, and shout something on, and there's parents that shout something on, but within my academy, do you know, it's just me and a few coaches, and do you know, I'm not there to criticise them.
I think like what you were saying earlier, it's like about the repetition. That's probably what the best part is, because in your club, you know, you're maybe standing in a queue of 12, 13 players waiting to pass the ball, but you're 1-to-1, you're getting a wee bit more. Yeah. Maybe on your side, because goalies do go away, there's only 2 goalies that will go away with the coach, but then you're the expert, not the volunteer. You know what I mean? So they're getting that hour of expertise in a way.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. The wee guy, John, it wasn't meant to be a one-to-one tonight, but the group, a lot of them are away on holiday for October, and he came in and got a one-to-one with, I think it was Ewan, and he loved it. And he's a good wee lad, but they're at that age, they're like a wee carry on as well. But because it was just him having his one-to-one, he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant because he's getting all the attention. I went between the two of them and I was just kind of chatting and stepping in with a coaching point. And John at the end of it, his dad's called John, and he was like, I think he wants to do one-to-ones. And to me, it doesn't matter where you're at your development, whether you're even at a professional club or a community grassroots and you're playing well. I still think coming back and doing a set of one-to-ones is brilliant, because there's always going to be something you can work on, aye.
So, talking about like with your coaching styles and stuff like that, have you? There's loads of talk these days about distribution playing out for the back nowadays, and the modern game's changed dramatically. Has that changed the way that you coach?
Yeah, 100%. It's changed. I've had to go and, I need to go and learn about that. Listen, I know how to pass a ball, and, I've coached like out with goalkeeping as well. But yeah, it's massive. It's always, I'll do sessions I'll never do one session on one thing. So let's say half a session's on footwork and distribution. And I can't just put on a drill and not tell them why. You need to know why you're doing it, and you need to let them know about what could happen. It's about being brave. I always ask them, can you take a yard further? And many young boys, there's two words that I use, accuracy and control. I don't expect you to hit the ball hard. You've not developed enough muscles yet. I'm looking for them to just be accurate and control. Show them where to hit it with the right part of the foot. And I just tell them how important it is. And I let them know it wasn't part of my game. When that ball came back to me, I was just asked to kick up as far as I could. Very seldom did I play out for the back. If I did, I get questioned, what are you doing that for? The whole opposite for what's happening today. But yeah, it's a big part of coaching. I've had the wee girl Ellie, who's at Celtic just now. She's just finished a block of 4. Because her feedback for Celtic has to be a bit stronger with her feet. But I seen that coming. Our distribution quite weak with our left.
Is this your marketing strategy? Just chuck them on at Celtic and post that on Facebook?
Well, listen, that's just how it's happened, and it's like, well, gee.
It's just a testament to what you're doing.
It is, and it's quite like, and I let them know because that you've been at the top, and
second top.
But listen, Rangers are the same. They both think they're the best, and that's fine. I wouldn't care if they all went to Rangers. It wouldn't bother me where they go. You need to make sure they're happy. But what was the question again?
No, I
think it's about playing it for the back.
Aye. Massive. It's massive, and I can't ignore that. I can't just think about what I've done. It's massive. Like the wee girl for Celtic, yeah, she's in, and that's all I've worked on for 4 weeks. And sometimes what I need to do is bring another coach in, because one-on-ones just with football distribution, you're limited. Where we can do angles and somebody closing her down, and she's came on, But yeah.
That's brilliant. Moving on to just a wee bit of advice for people who are maybe, sitting with a similar set of skills to you, but are not sure about starting a business. What would you say to them? As long as they're not based in West Lothian, what would you say to them?
Yeah. Don't start a goalkeeping academy. No. Listen, I'm a great believer, and I've said this to you as well, Jared, before. There's plenty to go around. If you believe in what you're doing, and be true to yourself. Don't try and be somebody else, and always be honest. But if you don't go, you'll never know. I use that as a motto in academy as well for crosses and that. If you don't go, you never know. But if you don't, if you're thinking, well, listen, I can do better than Andy, I was a better goalie, and go for it. Another bit of advice I got, and it wasn't aimed at my academy or anything. There was a guy for the gym who was a manager, And I was talking about other gyms, and he says, listen Andy, I just swim in my own lane. I do my own thing and I don't look at anything that's going on round about me. And it's the right thing to do, because if I start worrying about what they're doing, he's doing, because I see it all the time, there's other academies bringing goalkeeping coaches in, and if I start worrying about all that, you know, and I might not be suitable to every kid.
No.
Do you know, I'm not, you know, people might not take to me, people might not like me, they might not like what I'm doing, that's absolutely fine. And the guy who's just started up, they might just love him, and that's absolutely fine as well, you know. But yeah, go for it. If you really believe in what you can do, and go, give it a bash. If nothing ventured, nothing gained. Don't have any regrets. You know, I know I don't, and mine's kind of happened by accident.
Solid advice, yeah.
So, when you're not on a pitch, what keeps you busy? Have you got any other hobbies or interests that folk might not expect?
My phone, texting parents. Away from football, we want to talk away from the academy.
Aye.
I like walking, so I do hill walking. I'll go to the gym a lot.
Do you do Munros or?
I've done a few. I'm no Munro bagger.
Right, okay.
I've got an old mate for the gym. He's a lot older than me, and we go up the Pentlands every Wednesday, and I love the Pentlands. You know, and it's not just about how hard this climb is or anything. I just love being outdoors, and it's a walk and a talk. It's therapy. Do you know, he talks about he loves retirement, and we sort the world out. You know, we've ended every war all over the world just in that 3 hour walk. You know, and I switch off. He doesn't like football. He was a basketball player, even though he's tiny. But we've got fitness in common, you know, and so I can switch off, and it's good that I do like that day when I go out walking. If he can't make it, I'll go down to Crammond with the dog, and she just loves going in, and I'm 3 or 4 hours with her. And I try and personally not have a session that night, because I just like to be able to go home and do nothing.
How important is that for you, for your mental health, to have that
yeah.
bit? Do you need that every week?
I believe.
Notice if you miss a week, do you notice your mental health kind of taking a decline, or?
If I miss a week walking or that?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say that. I would say my mental health can decline when I'm out coaching every night, because it can be overwhelming. I don't know if Jared shares the same kind of. You're out every night, and it's not just playing with your mates. You're actually coaching, and sometimes you're having to be a father figure. You're having to kind of nurture them. You're having to give them a row, and coaching. When you get a phone call, and what I call them, they're just out the wrapper. I said, my son's woke up this morning and says he wants to be a goalie. He's never played football in his life. And I'm like, sometimes it's great, it's a blank canvas. Some of them, it's like just a wee thing they're going through. You know, you might not see them again after a session. And it's psychologically quite tough, because I want them to get value for money. Do you know, right at the start, there was sessions I turned up and went, right, it's only them, I'll wing this session. And I come away feeling that was terrible, even though the boys worked hard. And ever since, so it's a learning process that I spend a lot of time doing all my programmes. I'll never walk into a session now without having a programme. So no, it's very important for me to do things away. I love going to music, I'm always going to gigs. The last 2 years I've been travelling. Last year was 3 months. The year before...
You've been to Germany, Russia, Bulgaria, Azerbaijan,
I've been everywhere.
Thailand,
Cambodia, Scandinavia, yeah, I've been all over. We've a lot at work, a lot at travel, you know, and actually done some coaching. I was in Thailand there, which was great. Standard was like...
How did that come about? Did you just chance your luck, or did you send an email?
What happened? Do you know, it's like social media things come up, and I seen it, or I was looking into where I was going. This Koh Phangan was a very small island down by Koh Tao and Koh Samui, and I was just looking, and I just went into football clubs, and there was an Israeli guy that set it up, and I just asked, and he didn't know me for Adam, and I said, listen, I'd like to come in and do some work with you. I'm not wanting to get paid, or do you know, I'd just be great. You know,
I mean, you're probably the only place in West Lothian that can say, "Oh, I done it abroad."
Yeah. Well, I've actually got a goalkeeping academy in Sierra Leone as well. I started that about 3 years ago. I started that, but when I was in Thailand, it was good. I was there and they kitted me out, and I actually travelled. So to go to a tournament, I had to get a ferry to another island, and I was there, and the standard wasn't great, you know, by any stretch of the imagination, but it was fun. You know, the guys were great, they looked after me, you felt a bit of personality, and I get embarrassed with all that stuff, you know, even though I can walk about dead loud. No, I'm not dead loud at that, but I don't like to be put in the spotlight. You know, I'm not shy, but I just like, you're going to take all this shit. I don't want to do that, you know. But yeah, I hope that I've done, the last podcast I've done some TV work in Sierra Leone. I didn't go over. So that's I was kind of, I didn't realise you'd have all this.
Is that still running?
Yeah, that's still running. It's massive. I don't take as much hands-on stuff now because I've got them in touch. I done a kind of whip round with the West Lothian community, and we've got hundreds of kits.
I remember seeing it all, yeah.
West Blackburn handed a lot of stuff. Neil Purdy gave all the boxes, and then it was funny because I posted a picture and it was all Neil Purdy's boxes in Sierra Leone, and he was like, "Oh, there's my boxes," and he posted something, and then it was massive. I was doing stuff in the telly, and I was like, "Oh, I need to do this," and I was getting people from Holland trying to do a podcast, and I'm like, I genuinely just wanted to help them because they don't have gloves, they don't have anything, they don't eat for days, and I just got a lot of stuff. And it was a wee bit stressful because I'm going around all West Lothian collecting stuff, and the gloves, and I was actually going to keep selling them because goalies were just firing them away. I'm like, I'm still wearing
That's
them.
Right, aye.
Yeah, I was wearing them. I sent my stuff, and Armadale handed a lot of stuff in, and what I tell them to do, they didn't know it was an Armadale, a West Lothian rivalry. They played against each other, albeit all goalkeepers. So I asked them, and they had a big game. It was Armadale v Blackburn in a kind of match over there. They wouldn't have known the significance of it, but everybody here loved it.
Oh, aye.
And they'd done a big massive parade that day right through the city with all my banners, and I'm like, all I wanted to do was give them equipment, and it didn't cost me, well, me and my family put a wee bit to it, but Neil Purdy helped with the boxes. One of my mates who's got a removal company took the stuff down to London for free to this charity who took it over on a boat. Now, I could have went by plane and it took no time and it would cost thousands.
Aye.
But gone by boat was like, I don't know, it was a few $100 and I got there a month later. But no, and the videos, and you know, I talked to all the wee boys and they're FaceTiming them, and sadly one of them passed away, he got malaria. And that was quite a sad time. But no, it was good. And then I was on the radio. I was having to go on like Zoom and on the radio, and you know, and they called me. What was it they called me? Coachy. That was my name. Coachy. And I was just.
They must think you're God, man.
The day, aye, but like, it wasn't. You know, it was. I just wanted to give them a wee start, and I got them involved with the Sierra Leone FA, and I just listen. Can you help them? Can you give them anything? Because I can't keep doing that. Do you know, and the pitch hire was for a year was £75, and I just paid that, you know, but they'll think, oh, he's a millionaire. But that was for a year, you know. And it wasn't even a pitch.
Imagine we could do that.
Oh, mate, we're driving about in Porsches. But the pitch was just a mud heap. It wasn't even a pitch. But no, that was quite rewarding. I felt quite good about that, you know, and it's still going on, and the FA step in. And through it all, professional goalkeepers over there into their academy, and I sent some of my personal stuff over, and the guy's name's Idrissa, and he still cuts about all my stuff, and I've seen my gloves that when I played at Blackburn, and he's still wearing them, you know, and it's like, I keep forgetting about that over there, to be fair.
So how's that kind of running just now? Is somebody doing that for you?
So yeah, listen, it's not a money maker then at all. It's Idrissa Kalon just goes about and his heart's in the right place, and he just runs sessions on certain days, and I got more of the contacts, and then other people help, and they're donating some stuff and stuff like that.
That's what it's about, setting the example and showing other people, and hopefully
they'll
take it up. Like,
I've worked in Africa before, and I know the mentality, and I know, you know, what they're like, and then the TV interview I'd done, I'd never done anything like that, and they really got me in the hop, and they got me, took me a bit surprised. They're like, so when he coming over, but the British government advised you not to go over. And then they're saying...
Because there's like civil wars and all that.
Aye. And I think in one podcast I offended them. I said, listen, I've been advised not to come. But they're all, oh, no, you can't say that. Or, oh, no. But they were asking me, so we've got all these goalies, when will you bring them over to Europe and get them? So they think, do you know, that a West Lothian Academy is worldwide, and it's not. You know, and they kind of put me in a position, and I have to say honestly, you know, it's not what I've set up. I've just given you a chance. Please go and build this yourselves. And Idrissa's never off the tail either now. He's famous over there, you know, and he's not doing it for money. It just runs itself and stuff, you know. It's not a money maker for me at all.
Aye, but no, it's giving them the tools to try and reach their full potential.
Yeah, and we just asked for videos, and we're training, you know, I'm up with the phone, and he loved it. And then you see him try to replicate it, and it's hysterical, man. It's just...
It's brilliant, mate, honestly. Well, by the way, cracking stories, but like, what's next for Andy Sheridan then? What's next for you?
A good bit of advice I got as well when somebody was talking about websites and branching into here and there, and you know, about pushing it, and somebody asked, was I going to do that, and I wasn't trying to, but teams for Glasgow were asking, can I go through, or can I go into Edinburgh, and if it happened, then I would have, you know, I'd have made time, I'd put our coaches on, but it wasn't my plan to take over anywhere. But I could tell, you know, my mate, when he asked that question, but do you want to expand? Then I said, I've not really got any big dreams to go and, you know, I don't. And he says, sometimes you're better with the flame that keeps you warm than the fire that'll burn you. You know, what's next? Keep doing what I'm doing, enjoying doing what I'm doing, and making goalies better. Aye. No promise now, no selling a false dream to anybody. You know, being honest. Honesty is massive. In coaching, Jared, you know yourself, whether you're club football or you're doing your academy, you need to be honest with everybody. Because if you're not, that comes back and bites you in the bum at some point.
It will,
you know,
it will.
You need to be honest with players. If you're a coach saying, listen, you're not my plans. No, it's not in the academy. Everybody's in my plans. Whether you're never going to make it or you don't want to play. Because I've got some guys that will not go and play for a team, but they just love goalie training. And I'm all right with that. I just love seeing them being happy. Aye. You know, but you need to be honest with them. You know, if parents approach me and, oh, see, he's there, can my son go there? And I just need to say, listen, I can't, that is not what I've set up to do. I've just set up to make them better. Hopefully I can do that. You know, and then some don't come back because of that, and that's fine. But I don't know what's next. I don't have any big plans. Just keep doing what I'm doing as long as I can. You know, physically, I've got kind of back issues and starting to get knee issues, and you know, keep doing what I'm doing. And if I need to physically stop, I've got a few guys in Cade and Ewan and Callum, and the thing with my coaches is they're responsible and they're reliable and they're honest. You know, I can trust them. And I've had like Jamie McDonald for the old Hearts keeper and other boys in and helping, and other boys offering to come in, but I need to know you. Do you know, I can't just go and give you a session, let you go and do your own thing. I need to know that you're setting standards, and I'll always say to them, do not just put training drills on. You're a coach. You need to coach stuff, you know. And like tonight, I got the opportunity just to go between the two, and also keep my eye on the coaches, making sure. Do you know, they always say put a session on it you'd love put on for yourself. You know what I mean? Don't just go through the motions, because I'll find out. You know, and then you'll get a verbal warning, written warning, and then you get the belt.
Christmas bonus sacked, cancelled.
Don't mention Christmas bonus, because I'll start asking for it.
It's something I always joke about. If any of them have a wee joke, I'll be like, that's your Christmas bonus cancelled. I'm like, am I getting them one? I've never thought of that. I just say it for a laugh. I should just start saying your pension's gone.
Aye.
Right, well, we end with a quick fire round then.
Okay.
Best player you've ever coached for a goalie?
Oh. Academy-wise?
Aye.
I'd need to say for what she's doing now, Lola Rarity, Celtic Scotland. You know, I need to say it's Lola. But there's ones that they're at clubs but they're younger, so it's still... Everyone's a yeah if they're willing to put the effort in. So Lola, in the academy, Lola. Yeah.
Good. And who's the funniest?
Oh, funniest.
You've ever coached?
Wee Liam Webb. He plays for Bathgate. He's been coming with me for day one. Well, he was the second goal to come after Lola. And we're just like mates, you know, we just have a laugh and he swaggers up and he just cracks me up without even trying to crack me up, you know. Doesn't tell me jokes, he just cracks me up.
Class.
Favourite venue you've ever coached at? Home and abroad then?
Coach, for the actual experience, it was in Thailand.
I was going to say,
With a nice wee set, it wasn't the full-size park, but it was just 5 o'clock at night, it's roasting, I've got a pair of shorts on.
It's just neat, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just neat.
Neat?
It's just alright, do you know what I mean? It's just neat, do you know what I mean?
It was, and then you get to know the parents, like, and it was quite a big Israeli kind of community, but the Thai parents, they just kind of were like, and you're just like, oh, don't, you know, I hate all that.
I hate all that first,
you know, but that was the best experience, I think, you know.
Aye.
Yeah.
That would have been good.
Have you got a pre-match superstition?
When I played?
Aye.
Not pre-match, but when I had my water bottle, I had to go to the right-hand side of my goal.
Right.
I had to go there. I'm still a goalie glove weirdo. Do you know? I'll go into shops and I'll try goalie gloves on, and when I get, because I have one glove company, I'll give them a big shout out. They sponsored me, and I get my gloves for nothing, and the kids get a good discount. And when they send them, I sit in the house with them on still, and I'm like, I'm 51 year old man, would you not get a grip? But I love having gloves on, you know. And then when a new goalie comes in, I'm kind of like, let's see the gloves. You know?
I don't know if they still do them, but do you prefer, you know, the padded gloves or like the ones with the metal bar in them?
The finger
finger
protecting,
save,
no.
aye.
I wore them for one season, they were Adidas, and I never liked them. I never felt, I prefer, and you make me a wee bit lost here, minimum backhand. You know, and I'll not start mentioning brands that are doing all that, because a lot of them do it, but I like minimum backhand and the 4mm palm, because I like to feel my hands. I like the glove to be right close to my fingers and everything. I didn't like the big clumpiness on the front, you know. But everybody's different. Do you know, when they come into the academy and I let them know about the One Glove Company, who are massive, I'll just chance my luck by emailing them, and they just says, yeah. I was like, wow. You know.
Don't ask, you don't get.
No, and they've been absolutely brilliant with me. And they come in and I'll just let them know, listen, I can get you a discount. And they'll come in, they'll try them, but they might not like them. It's, you know, it's goalkeeper preference. I'll never say you must wear. You know, everybody's like the Killier, they're massive. Maybe a row if my sponsors here will say that. They're massive, but it's down to the goalkeeper. Do you know, my coaches wear different gloves, and you know, it's down to the goalkeeper.
Aye. Favourite keeper of all time?
Pat Bonner. Pat Bonner.
Favourite Scottish keeper?
Oh, Scottish international. So I would say Jim Leighton, because I grew up watching him, but then I'll say Andy Gorham, even though I'm a Celtic fan. He just didn't look like a goalie or anything, but he was as hard as nails.
I was going to say, he's proper old school for me. Like,
Proper,
he was,
you know, and he was, God rest him, man.
Aye,
Yep.
aye. We moved him quite a few times actually.
You moved him?
Aye, Andy Gorham.
Oh, did you? Aye.
Aye, rest in peace.
Yeah, it was...
VAR, bin it or keep it?
Change it.
You got to change
Every
it.
answer they get.
Change it. I think football's going to end up like a game of American football when it goes on forever. You know, I look at the Man United game yesterday where McAllister went down with a head knock, and he was holding his head, and the ref actually turned around and looked and still played on.
Still played on. I know. I saw
You
it.
know, one thing that really bothers me, and I don't know why it doesn't get enough spotlight, is the referee doesn't put his flag up first time. He has to wait to see what happens. Do you know? Now, what happens if, Jared, I'm in goals and you're coming through me, and I am who I am, and I don't want to let it go, and I come out and absolutely smash you, or you smash me, break my leg, or whatever, and that ref is not allowed to put his flag up early, he could have stopped that. You know?
Aye, there's a bigger chance of it happening, because if you're offside, you're going to be in front, so you're going to have
and
more
you're
chance of it
travelling at
happening.
speed, so I think, and touch wood, I've never seen any real injuries yet, but I think that kind of stuff's in the post, you know, but I think, and this is just my thing, I think we'll end up doing away with refs and linesmen at some point.
They are robotic.
And it'll be something mental. Maybe no refs, I don't know. It's
Maybe
just,
the linos will go.
it's just mental. It's just, it's a bit OTT, and then when you get the VAR and because we all think, well, that was a brilliant tackle, or a brilliant shot, or a brilliant save, and then you watch VAR, and it can be the opposite for what you thought or what you've seen. You know, and I look at that through goalkeeping, and I always use this example to the goalies. Aaron Ramsdale made a save at the Emirates, and in normal speed, he got his hand to it and ended up in the top stand, and everybody was going mental. And they slowed it down, they showed it again, and only through what I look at, it's like, if he's, because Aaron Ramsdale, the modern day goalkeeper, is all about punching, do you know, moving hands and not catching. If he took one step to the side, he was catching that.
Aye, he's a camera goalkeeper.
Aye, but listen, there's a place for that, and I'm not at his level, never have been. I'm not at his coach's level, so I don't argue with what they're doing. But my argument is, and they'll say, oh, that was a magnificent save, and I'll say, wasn't it that good? How is it no? And I'll say, well, how would you feel if you let it in? Oh, well, we should have saved it. I said, well, it wasn't a great save then. You know?
What about Celtic win the Champions League or Scotland win the World Cup?
You horrible get. Oh, mate. I think we patriotic and go with Scotland.
Good man. 3G or grass?
You're asking a goalie here.
Coaching wise now, 3G, because I know it's always on. You'll be the same, Jared. You're not losing many sessions. Grass, I wouldn't. If I could go back and bring 3G into when I was playing, I wouldn't. Do you know? I don't know how they dive about. And I played in red ash and the black ash up there. I'd probably still get the scars. You know, but I don't mind it for the coaching. You know, and you know your sessions are on most of the time. There'll come a point, maybe right hard frost that it's not. But sometimes the girls turn up with just shorts on and they're diving and you're seeing them opening cuts up, and I'm like, oh, are you alright? But they're the ones that just got up. The girls just got up and got on with it. You know.
What about Buffon or Neuer?
Oh, what you try to do to me? Oh, mate. Neuer's still relevant, and I'll say Neuer. I love Buffon because when I played back then, I had long hair as well. It was one of my mates, and I was the first about here when I signed for Broxton.
Is that where Fowler gets it for?
Oh,
Old pictures of you.
Oh, but I was the first keeper I asked for short sleeve when I signed for Broxton. It was part of the deal, and I had my hair all long, and it was like all hunters of wax. And my mate came down to watch. He says, "You're like Buffon." I said, but I played like a buffoon. You know, I love Buffon. I loved his longevity, and I loved his commitment to obviously Juventus for that length of time. But Neuer is just, I think he revolutionised.
With his fit work, he revolutionised it.
And he just stands there in front and puts his hands up and just, he's strong as an ox.
Aye.
Wasn't like me anyway.
Android or Apple?
Apple.
Good enough. Ice cream or chocolate?
Chocolate. Well, a sweet tooth.
Jim Leighton or Andy Gorham?
You're horrible. I'll say Jim Leighton because I grew up and I watched him, and you know, would he play in the day's game? Would Gorham? No. Oh, they would, but they wouldn't get noticed. They wouldn't get, do you know, because listen, when I work with like all the scouts and they ask, so but how tall is he and can use his feet? And I'm like, I get a bit irritated by that, and I know it is how it is.
But
and they believe, like, these clubs believe that, because I chat to them a lot, they believe that if you can play with your feet and you're tall, they can make you a goalie. That's what they say. And I think, all right.
no, there's a bit more to it than
You
that.
need to want to be a goalie.
Aye.
You know?
Aye, you would have wanted there first. So if football wasn't the path, what do you think you'd be doing instead? Would it be another sport, you reckon? Or
I done the boxing when I was young.
Ice hockey can be a goalie in that.
I suppose you could.
Well, you're more protected.
Aye.
I've tried skating and I was like, Bambi. Done the boxing when I was young and I liked it. At Livingston Police Station, but as I got older...
Whoa, sorry. But you were boxing in the police station, or...
Aye, with the
cells.
sergeants and that. No. No, you'll probably remember that the police station had a boxing club.
I didn't know that.
The old police... I'm going back when I was at school. So we're talking about 37 years ago. And they were a very good boxing club.
That,
Old school guys that would actually hit you when you weren't, imagine us hitting one of our kids, the players. And I done that, but we're starting to mix with my football. And then I thought about going for fights and getting medicals, and I'm like, I'm not sure I get punched, and football was football, So maybe boxing, maybe. I was always kind of sporty and doing something. Never long distance running, never, ever.
I don't think there is a goalkeeper alive that does long distance.
No. I've always been fit. I always keep myself, I still do. But whenever it came to whatever pre-season or whatever we're doing and the gaffer would turn round, short, sharp stuff, I was flying. I could beat a winger, short, sharp. But the minute I think it would be Jimmy McLaughlin actually, we say, right lads, he's been messing about, then go for a 20-minute run. See the guy at the end, I was behind him. I just switched. I hated it. I hated it with a passion. Couldn't do it. Just moaning and just, my hammy's gone.
Good stuff. So you're at Broxburn now, aren't you?
I was at Broxburn, I was in the Lowland League. I started the season there. They brought in a new manager. We never seen eye to eye. I'll not go into that. And I left.
Right.
I walked out.
Free agent.
No, I don't know if I can say this. I'm at Whitburn now.
Wouldn't have had you on. No, I'm only
We spent the last 2 hours asking the boy questions.
I'm at Whitburn now, but the only
Blur out his academy. Honestly, I'm not saying it.
only reason I went there is because the boys that brought me into Broxburn, wee Lewis and Deeks and Pitts, they brought me in, and wee Billy McPhee, they brought me in, and they never... couple were leaving anyway, and it was a bit of a mishmash. Lewis took the Whitburn job with Deeks, and they asked me, and I said, I'm going to stay here, even though I knew the relationship with the manager wasn't great. And then I left. I went in to do my session, but things happened, and I left. And I just messaged Lewis, and I said, I'll come on board. So that's where I am just now, enjoying it. Yeah, it's good, because then I'm with my adults and I can have a bit of banter about the weekend, and I can really, we can talk, we can analyse a game, and I'm with them 2 nights a week now on a Saturday, so I enjoy it. Aye.
Good.
That's good.
Keeps you local. Well, listen, look, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. I've really enjoyed talking to you. I think you have as well.
Aye, no, it's been really good.
No, listen, thanks for having us. I really appreciate it. And
football there.
I've known Jared, through football. We try to collaborate with some stuff, but...
politics.
Yes.
Not between us, but between, what we're trying to do.
Because I'm like you, Jared, we've spoken about it. I'll help anybody out. Academies, I've got mates like me, Stevie, I don't know if I want to mention academies, but I'll always try and help out, and always say, can we do something with strikers and goalies? And sometimes logistically you can't.
Aye.
We had a wee thing about going to go, and then politics.
Aye. Because I didn't know you on a personal level. I knew of you because I've known Aaron and that, and obviously I've seen you about and that. And then when I got asked if I was off one of the guys at the pitch, if I was using it on this day, I was like, just give it to him, because I only use half it anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's just about seeing eye to eye.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So But level of politics had to be navigated.
Yes.
Had to give up the venue.
And we both agreed that it wasn't sustainable.
No.
Yeah.
No. Maybe in the future though.
Listen, I've been more than happy because I used to go, Brian does some stuff up at his end, and I'd maybe say, what ages you got in at this time? And I'd bring the goalies up for sort of real game stuff. For the last 15 minutes, my goalies would go up and they're getting proper shooting, proper strikers, and Brian would put on good drills. You know, and that's how wee Lola got noticed actually, because she asked to go up, and I said to Brian, I says, Lola wants to come up for shooting. And he's like, no. He goes, look at her, because she was like that, and she wasn't tall. And I'm like, but Dad says it's all right, and she's mental for it. And Brian's like, no, and then he shouted me up. He goes, you shot for it? I went, aye. And she went in that day. And honestly, she was doing up there, but she wasn't doing with me because it's different. You know, and Brian's like, oh my God, I was videoing it. And he's like, I'm speaking to Celtic about her. So Brian was a big part of getting her to Celtic as well. She's never looked back. Yeah, there's a big black. I think, you know, with that, at the time, Blackburn missed a wee, you know, look at what their players doing. Do you know, I don't know if I just want to do that, or, you know, but
I think we're becoming more social.
We're definitely starting that.
I've seen all that for you. I admire, and I know there's been a lot of changes recently. I know Chris and that well, and Trevor, and I admire the guys that are willing to try and make the club, especially for grassroots, make it look so professional and attractive. You know, and then they'll go on to this podcast and they'll see their dad maybe as a coach, or they'll see, you know, he's doing a great job, you know.
We're trying our best.
Oh, I think he's having a what? I didn't expect this when I walked in. I'm like, oh.
Aye, that's brilliant.
No, listen, that's been brilliant. I've really enjoyed tonight. And hopefully we'll have you back on the podcast soon.
Yeah, but maybe we put Monday. What's next for Andy Sheridan? So maybe something will be next. And
aye, just need to wrap up half the questions.
We'll just win next one.
Can tell in the first 5 minutes of the podcast is like we got a blabber the night.
Aye.
But no.
No, brilliant. We'll see you all guys next week, where we'll have man of many talents, Martin Strachan, joining us in the hot seat. So that's be a good one.
Definitely. Well, we'll see you later then. Keep it in between the sticks.
And we'll see you all next week. Cheers.
Bye.